Righty, cheers for joining us. What a load of shit that was. United have somehow drawn with potentially the worst team in the Premier League at the moment. I was sitting off just to the side there as Joe was wrapping up and doing the review, and I agree with him almost entirely there. We've just failed to score against a team that almost didn't even try and play us. It's incredibly frustrating, and I saw what Ralph's come out and said, and he's basically just gone, my job's to set you up as a team, and it's on the players to convert that into chances and into goals. That's paraphrasing, obviously, but I completely agree with what he just said. That's exactly what needed to happen, and that's exactly what didn't happen. Manager's job is to set a team up to limit the opposition's chances and to maximise your own chances. Did he do that? Yes, he did. And the players have let him down. And do you know what? I don't necessarily think anyone had a bad performance, but I also know nobody had a good performance. 20-something shots, 22 shots, I think, and 3 on target. And out of those, in the first half, there was opportunities. I don't even think Foster had to make a save in the second half. I've called it striker needed. You can see over my shoulder. And it's not necessarily even because Ronaldo's done. I still think Ronaldo's got a lot to offer, but maybe not week in, week out, every single game, with no option off the bench for him. Where's Edinson Cavani? We've given players some grief for not wanting to be part of the club, for wanting to leave. And yet, because Cavani's a bit of a cult hero at the club, we let him kind of get away with murder with it. But we're dropping points because he's not available. He'd have made a difference in some of these games. And it might not just be one striker United need. We might need 2. We very much probably do need 2. And people are going to just immediately jump to the fact that, oh, well, we shouldn't have let Tony Marshall go. Well, hindsight's 20/20 in it. But also, Tony Marshall wasn't doing anything. He's played, 2 games for us this season? It's less than Cavani. And I'll stand by, I don't think anyone had a bad game today. Ronaldo may be one of the worst out of the team, but I don't think anyone had a bad game, but I'm certain no one had a good game. There was a lot of chances created, but there was also just a little bit extra too many touches. When you've got a team that you know is going to low block you, you have to go forward quickly. You have to go vertical fast, and you have to be able to maximise the opportunities when you're in behind. Alanga had an absolute gilt-edged chance with a little backheel flick from Paul Pogba, and he's flashed it just to the left of the post. If that's 6 inches inside the post, you probably go and score a few more. Frustrating day all around, obviously. Get your comments in, get your questions in. Best Hijacker says, love your channel. Cheers for NYC. Cheers. Andy Petty says, yes, Steve, hope you're good. Difficult day for Paddock. Shite result for United. Yep, Paddock threw the league away today. We lost 3-1 to second place. And then had to go and enjoy United doing that. It's Cam's last day here today. I think he's still behind the camera for me, I think. Is it? Or is it Ethan? It is Cam's last day. He was the first person since I started doing YouTube that I employed full-time. And I'm going to give him a little bit of credit. Cam's a fucking excellent member of staff, and he's leaving to go somewhere else. And today's his last shift, so we're going out for a pint with him afterwards. So let's hope the day does get better. Ali says, someone tell me why Shaw come on. Quite excited when I saw the team sheet, to be honest with you. Palash says, Harry Kane needed if we get him for under 75. Fuck no. There's not one reason you could give me that Harry Kane would be a good signing for Manchester United. Alex says, said it the other day, getting Ketia off Arsenal, different to what we have now and free to come off the bench. John, we was talking the other day when we did a live, and someone was saying, who was that English player that United put 40 million in for? And we couldn't remember it off the top of our heads to begin with. Oh, well, I couldn't remember it because it was me that was telling you a lot. And it was Tammy Abraham, and you think, you know what, if we had a fucking Tammy Abraham, it's just a different option to what we've got in there. A big physical presence as a number 9. He's just different. And that's the fucking drama that we've got at the minute. Gareth says Matic has been our best player the last 2 games. Shows how badly we need a real number 6, doesn't it? Because I would agree with you, Matic makes it look so easy. He's played back-to-back games there for the first time in however long. K Robo says Steve Ronaldo's legs are breaking my heart. Just doesn't have them anymore, and it's killing me knowing if he did the amount of goals he'd be scoring. Not sure it's just legs in terms of Ronaldo. I think it's also where some of the opportunities are coming for him. He's a goal poacher now. He's not the 23-year-old lad that we sent off to Real Madrid. He's older now. Salah says, Steve, are you losing hair? I don't think so. I mean, if you're looking at that line, it's literally a deliberate line. It's not thinning. I mean, Jesus, of all the things to throw at me, losing hair's not one of them. Dan United says, Cavani getting shit for being injured, not his fault, yet Pogba fucks off to do Bayern holiday, and people are begging him to stay. Well, I don't agree with the begging Pogba to stay. Oh, hang on, I just deleted that message. I meant to show it. I don't necessarily agree with begging Pogba to stay, but I also think that Cavani hasn't been injured every single time that he's not played. Notch says, is McNeil defo not ready to bring up even as an emergency? In my opinion, he's far too lightweight. But so was Marcus in his debut season, and so was almost every other player when they break into the team. Alanga's hardly a powerhouse, is he? So I think with 10 and 5 minutes in that sort of game when they're just trying to deny space, that's the opportunity. It's literally try him. What is the worst that can happen? Marcus is a waste of a shirt at the moment. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't think it's an ability thing with him because we've seen what he's capable of doing. And even in what loads of people called a shit season last year, he still provided 30 goals and assists. Get me more shit players like that because none of them are going to be anywhere close to 30 goals and assists this season. He's a waste of a shirt at the moment. And it's got to be something mental with him because we know that he's got ability and we know that he's got everything that you need to be good. I don't know what it is with him. Ahmed says, Alanga was impressive. Also, why is Delo not playing? Don't know. Ali says, positive of the day, Lindelof and Varane are proper together. I would be up for seeing a bit more of that, to be honest. It was a clean sheet. Albeit you didn't have the greatest team in the world coming and try and take you on. But you did have a team that's going to put you under pressure with those 3 players. I mean, outside of those 3 players, they've got nothing, but that forward 3 is a bit of a handful for everyone. It's just that they're shit defensively. And they did nothing. They came to lose 4-0 and are probably getting smashed on the way home thinking that they've snatched a point somehow. Daniel Kirk says, get David and Chumene. With top 4 gone, will Varane leave? I'm very worried. On the top 4 thing, I think we're still 4th. But we're hanging on to that with our fingertips, aren't we? And everyone's got games in hand around us. Now, obviously, everyone around us is playing a little bit on the shit side as well, which is something that goes in our favour at least a little bit. But I don't know how United turned this corner. This was the 3 points. This was the tap-in because next week, I don't know if you've all noticed the fixture list, is Manchester City. And one thing that you could see under Ole, this team could play a different style, play on the counter, and snatch a win because we were scoring goals. Now, taking into account the last 90 minutes, do you think we can score some goals against Manchester City? Do you believe in this team defensively enough to be able to hold on, put a disciplined in performance, and then hit them on the counter? Because I fucking don't. And if you do, there's probably medication you can take for that because there's not a fucking prayer that we can do that. Dan says, did Pogba down tools towards the end of the game or was he just gassed? I assume he's just gassed. He hasn't had a lot of match practice, has he? Shree says, we won't get a shot. Chance at City, surely. Triplet 3 says, he's not losing hair. He has a beautiful wife and daughter. What? Yeah, those things aren't necessarily related. Oh, anyway, whatever. Pinch says Danny Welbeck on a free in the summer as a backup option to bring in a big name number 9 signing, providing you get the big name number 9. Because if we bring in Danny Welbeck on a free and they're like, there's your new striker, you are fucking kidding me, right? We are setting up to scrape a top 10 finishes if this is what you're asking for. Ross says, I can't see us getting top 4 now. I reckon we'll win 1 of 4 games in March, and that's not good enough to cement top 4. It's not fucking good enough to cement top 6, I don't reckon that, to be honest. Froggery says, do we need 2 midfielders and 2 strikers? Yeah, and possibly a centre-half and a right-back, and maybe even a right winger. And I'm deadly serious. Joey Curran says, Tammy Abraham would have bagged 20 for us this season. Akshay says Bruno too selfish today and the captain armband got to his head. Bruno's someone saying, why is Bruno playing too deep? I think you kind of have to have him a little bit deeper, and I think that's allowing the balance in the team. Bruno's a very emotional player, isn't he? I think if he could get a level of composure in him, there's a genuine world-class player in there. Grayson says they should go for Mitrovic as a backup striker. Seriously, the guy's absolutely brassing up the championship. Ant says, Steve, I wouldn't be surprised to see us finish outside the top half. That's giddy. We're not that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. Captain Dust says, miss Cavani. Sufami says, just hated the result. Prashant says, Ronaldo, the mistake. I think when you look back on the season, it might be, but you've also got to think, without him, who would we have had? No one else has played. Dex says, Bruno's chip crosses are gash. Why can't he just get them in half spaces and whip it? Ward-Prowse, Trent, De Bruyne style. Trent's whip's different, but yeah, I agree with the sort of Ward-Prowse and even De Bruyne style ones. How did Paddock get on? We conceded 2 in the first 4 minutes of the game, at which point I don't know how I didn't throw a chair at someone. We were never out of the game. We created a shitload of chances but had no composure in the final third, and if we did, we'd have been fine. Opposition were completely fucked, but they already had the lead. Pulled one back in the second half, and then they got a third as we was pushing for an equaliser. One of those, innit? This is our first ever full season, and we got teams basically having a night out celebrating beating us. Try and give us shit for filming the games and everything around it, but absolutely fucking live for playing us. I suppose it comes with the territory, doesn't it? Nick Albini says, he's clearly aging and bottled a big chance today, but how many chances do we actually create for Ronaldo in 90 minutes? 2. Most crosses are dreadful. Yeah, I would agree on that one. Fergie's Candlelight says, thoughts on Wan-Bissaka today? I mean, not a game when you've got a team in a low block is not the game for Wan-Bissaka, is it? The game for Wan-Bissaka's actually probably Sunday next week against City. Wan-Bissaka's probably going to be one of the first names on the team sheet in that game because of what he offers you and what his particular skill set is. It's just not the game for him today, is it? I don't think he was bad, but I don't think he was good either, and that just paints up for everybody. Conor Llewellyn says, Mitro, I reckon 30 mil. It's probably worth it. It'd probably be you got to try and find it where players think you're a step up to play for you and not doing you a favour. And that's the difference. Frank says, great first half, poor finishing, ran out of steam in the second half, but solid defensively. Yeah. Notch says, we went all out attack for the last 20 minutes and had Shaw and Wan-Bissaka as our fullbacks. Inuk says, could use a player like Donny. I disagree. What's Donny going to have done different? Shree says, he did great with Paddock, certainly on track to achieve something special. We have got all sorts in the pipeline. And for a team that's literally just about to complete its first season, I'm very proud of the lads and what we've achieved. Even the fact that we've just got 4 teams from nothing, and we will have more next year and we'll have more the year after. And we are growing a community. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that actually bothered their ass to come and watch. And I'm not going to phrase that. Not bothered your ass. The ones who could come and actually made it. Because bothered your ass seems like I'm having a dig at those who've done, and that's not the case. But thank you to everybody who came down. I'm sorry if I didn't get a chance to thank you personally obviously very busy on a match day trying to deal with the team and all the rest of that sort of stuff. But I managed to try and speak to as many people pre and post game as I could. Thank you guys for coming down. I hope everyone that came and called me a dickhead managed to get a scarf. I really, really appreciate the support, whether it's actually in the stadium, which is fantastic, or whether it's online. Really, really do fucking appreciate the support from everyone. And it's what's made it a great ride. I mean, should we get Cam on for his last fucking session? He says he needs to eat. Come on, come and say hello. Can't change the camera, can we? So you have to get in here.
Hello.
He was shit today. Mankey says, I forgot to grab a scarf after the game. There was still some left for us to give out, so come and get one in the next game. Shreya says, why can't United try with Bruno as a false nine? That might be a very viable option for United, actually. That might be something that you can do. Switch Bruno in for Ronaldo and have him operate as a false nine. The guy thinks he's a number 9 anyway. I actually like that as an idea. Yeah, good suggestion. Our man says, why do we lack end products? Is it tactics or personnel? It's personnel. Like Ralph sort of alluded to, he set a team up to go for it in a way, and they did. And we created a lot of chances today, but the lads have got to have better decision making in the final third. Some of those chances have a bit more composure, and you twat these 3-4-0, and we're sitting here going, okay, that was a good result. Now let's focus on Manchester City. That's what should have happened, and it didn't happen. Liam says, well, welcome, Steve. It was great to see the team. Done very well first season, and again, love the tackle. Patrons, I'll tell you about that. Buran says, Wan-Bissaka was great today. Any bias aside? Again, I thought no one was bad, but I don't think anyone was good. It's those fine little margins in decision making where I think that's where the game's been drawn. Abdul Rahman says, do I believe finishing with Champions League football is essential to nail Ten Hag? If there's no other options, yeah. But if there's other options for him, then yeah, absolutely. Because he's probably got to be thinking, do you know what? I'm in the running for when Pep goes. And none of us are neutral here, right? Let's forget about if you were neutral. We're not neutral. But if you try to be objective, which sometimes I can be, and I try not to be, but sometimes I can be. If you had to look at which project do you want to go to, do you go to Manchester City where you're probably just going to be keeping a plate spinning in the air winning stuff, or do you go to Manchester United? If you've got zero personal connection with either of those teams, why would you choose United at the moment? You fucking wouldn't. You've got some of the worst owners in sport. You've got, let's be honest with yourself, a fucking extremely entitled fan base who still thinks it should be challenging for every single trophy on display, which is just not the fucking case anymore, is it? It makes no sense why you would choose United over City at the moment. Absolutely none. Alex says, if Ten Hag is a serious coach, you give him the setup, that's right. Champions League wouldn't come into it. If he wants a team and setup that's with him, he's already said that. Our owners will push that away. United could bring him in and put him in charge of all the youth, and I think he would do a fucking sterling job at that. But, again, it's one of those, isn't it? Cal, you be able to help wrap this up for us, please? Donna says, Steve, is running the problem? If not, why not? We're creating chances and not taking them. Surely the buck stops with the striker. Yeah. He's an issue. I don't think he's the whole issue. I don't think you put one more striker in there and go, fucking hell, we're winning 5-0 every week. There's clearly more at play. Ronaldo seems like a very easy target. The reason I titled it Striker Needed is at some point he's got to get a fucking rest, man. He's got to get a fucking rest. He's got to be able to be dropped because no one's undroppable, or they shouldn't be. He's got to be able to come out of the team when he's not producing or when he's not fit enough. And right now, it's the option of, do you play Marcus? And no, because if you're taking Ronaldo out for poor form and you choose Marcus, that's mental. The other option we've got is, as someone said in the chat earlier, maybe Bruno as a false 9. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Put it out there. The other thing you've got is Charlie McNeil, who's 18, has never played for the first team. That's your 3 fucking options at the moment, or it's persist with one of the most productive goal scorers of all time. It's probably a pretty fucking easy decision. An out-of-form Rashford, a fucking child, or play Bruno out of position. And it's not like we're awash with central midfielders. Donna says, chuck him in, fearless at that age. No, and that's the other thing, right? Charlie McNeil is a fucking Drosdener. So we know that he's coming to fucking bank. And I'm not talking about goals. Like, he would probably be fine, but it's still a massive, massive risk, and he might not be ready. And maybe an extra year in the academy, maybe dipping him into men's football a little bit, you might end up getting a better product out of it than if you just throw the guy in now. Anyway, we're going to go take Cam out. So cheers, everyone, for tuning in. Anyone's got a nice leaving message for Cam, leave it in the chat or on the end of the video, and I'll pass them on to him tonight. Cheers for tuning in. Yeah, throw a couple of sack cams in there. We never managed to sack him, and I think he's probably just finished his last shift. So we didn't quite manage to sack him. But cheers to everyone for tuning in. We wish him luck in his new career or his new job, same career. And we'll see. And Mankey says, Mankey, I think was at the game, says, tell Cam he was shit. Yeah, you were shit. Right, everyone, cheers for tuning in. We'll do 5 things tomorrow, and I'm probably going to do a live tomorrow night as well, which I'm sure we're going to get into what's going on in Ukraine. But nice one for tuning in. We'll see you in a bit.